Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Anna Vanston, and this is a breakdown for the trailer of The Last of Us Episode 8. There are only 2 episodes left, and I cannot wait to find out what new and interesting ways they find to shatter my heart into pieces. There's not much of it left. And I feel like it's obvious, but there's gonna be spoilers for what we've seen up until now, but I'm not gonna give any future game spoilers whatsoever until the very end, where you will get ample warning. If you haven't played the game, please be careful about going to the comments. And if you have played the game, please be careful in the comments. Don't spoil. Before we get into it, a quick reminder to check out nerdriot.shop, where there's still time to grab our The Last of Us inspired t-shirt, Lost in the Darkness. We've also released a whole line of Mandalorian inspired merch just in time for the season 3 premiere. Support the channel and check out all of our awesome merch options at nerdriot.shop. So let's jump in. Last we left off in episode 7, Ellie had cemented her decision to stay with Joel despite his nasty injury, and we can see that she's still taking care of him, checking his forehead to gauge his temperature while he's out cold. Since his blood loss is now under control after being stitched up, and we know how much Joel hates falling asleep while watching over Ellie, his inability to stay awake more than likely indicates a fever as a result of the wound getting infected. An infected wound takes the already high stakes of the show and just launches them into space. This is a life and death situation on top of a life and death situation on top of a life and death situation. And in the next shot, we see that Ellie, for the very first time, is without Joel and will have to take the reins of survival into her own hands. And we've been seeing this progression of independence throughout the season. Ellie starts the season out literally in chains, followed by Joel kicking her knife away from her, then Joel not allowing her to have a gun, to entrusting her with a pistol of her own, to agreeing that she should have her gun drawn and be on alert ready for a fight, and now we finally see Ellie being the one to take care of Joel. But as we can see from the trailer, there are plenty of obstacles standing in her way. Last of Us makes clear that the apocalypse is gross. There are tendrils coming out of mouths. We can hold ourselves to a higher standard of hygiene, thanks to Quip. Quip makes keeping your mouth healthy easy. Quip's electric toothbrush has timed sonic vibrations with 30-second pulses to guide a dentist-recommended 2-minute clean. And their water flosser can give you a gentle or deep clean at the touch of a button. And Quip's gum starter kit fits in just about any purse or pocket for on-the-go dental health. Quip has a special deal running now for fans of The Last of Us, but it involves a tough choice. You gotta choose between Joel and Ellie. To cast your vote in the Quipocalypse, go to getquip.com/infected. Once there, cast your vote by using either Joel or Ellie as your promo code. Either code will automatically get you 20% off any Quip water flosser, Quip toothbrush, or gum starter kit. But if your favorite character ends up getting the most votes, Quip will send you a special power-up to help fight off the plaque monster, which is like a bloater that lives in your mouth. Make sure you get your votes in before midnight on March 8th. We'll announce the winner on the finale breakdown. That's getquip.com/infected and use promo codes Joel or Ellie to vote for your favorite character. So next it's revealed that Ellie is pointing a gun at David, played by Scott Shepherd, who you might recognize as Jean Grey's father, John Grey from X-Men Dark Phoenix. With him is James, played by Troy Baker, who is the voice and mocap actor for Joel in the games. David tells her there's room for her in their group, and if I know anything, it's that if a man in the woods asks you to join his group, you run! Unless they have bears for pets. That'd be pretty cool. We then see a relatively small community, which is clearly not a quarantine zone seeing as there are no walls around it. However, they seem to have relative safety and isolation since the settlement has mountains on one side and a body of water on the other. We then see 3 sequential shots that show this community is heavily influenced by religion. A woman praying, David holding what I presume to be a Bible, and the community likely listening to David say a prayer before partaking in their meal. Over this, James says, "I don't mean to question your sense of mercy, David." Mercy being a recurring concept throughout the Bible, and the fact that he voices hesitance to question David shows that David is likely one of, if not the highest ranking member of the community. And lest we not forget that King David is an important figure in several religious texts. King David was also famously a leader of the people, and also a shepherd, so Joel, you might want to reconsider your dream career. But that's not all, because James is also a biblical name, with Saint James being one of Jesus' 12 apostles and a member of his inner circle. Seem familiar? And you thought I was done? No! Because on the right of the group is Nelson Lease, who's listed on IMDb as the character Josiah, like King Josiah of Judah. The connections are everywhere. Speaking of connections, kind of a strange coincidence, but this is not the first time Lease has found himself in a band of gun wielders scenario, seeing as he played a trapper in the movie Prey with this oddly similar shot. Anyway, James saying Ellie's just another mouth to feed doesn't bode too well for poor Ellie. Cutting back to Ellie, we see a continuation of her efforts to defend and provide for Joel while nursing him back to health. Luckily, Joel taught her how to shoot a rifle previously, equipping her with the ability to hunt. While hunting for food, she comes across a deer, and we cut to a beautiful close-up shot of the deer's face, which is gentle and unsuspecting. And deer often symbolize innocence. If something or someone is said to be doe-eyed, that means it has large innocent eyes, which is exactly what we see as Ellie exhales to steady her aim and pull the trigger. The title of the next episode is When We Are in Need, which we see written on the banner in the community building, but in Ellie's case, she has never been more in need. And seeing her face flushed and lips chapped from the harsh elements, we can finish that phrase. When we are in need, we must do what it takes to survive. Then the roles of predator and prey are switched as we get an action-packed sequence of shots showing members of David's group with their guns at the ready and Ellie on the run, with David saying, "The others want to kill you, let me protect you." But some go sideways as we're then shown David standing in the same community building as before, as seen by the table, chairs, and chandeliers, but now just a little hotter. In the next shot where Ellie grabs a knife, we see the reflection of the fire in the background, showing she's just as wrapped up in this whole fire situation. We then see her riding on horseback and firing a shot, which doesn't faze this guy at all. And it closes with James approaching something or someone on the ground. The suspense. So that's where I'm gonna end the breakdown for those who haven't played the game and don't want spoilers. This is your warning. See you after the episode. Spoilers ahoy. Goodbye. Okay, for those who are sticking around, how wild is this episode gonna be? I'm on pins and needles. As we know from the game, this is the section where Ellie runs across David and James while hunting, and David reveals after he and Ellie have to work together to fight off and escape a horde of infected that it was Ellie and Joel who killed his men who he sent to Eastern Colorado University. My guess is they'll probably skip the horde of infected fight sequence, seeing as they've opted for relationship over action in this series, but I'm hoping they keep the chilling way which David reveals this info to Ellie, prefacing it with the belief that everything happens for a reason. The trailer also seems to show that there will be a much bigger emphasis on the group's religion than there was in the game. There were bits thrown into the game that indicated the religious nature of the group, the banner for one, but also the lines David would say in combat like, "Forgive him, Lord," and "For a second you shook my faith." Another thing that wasn't revealed by the trailer and could potentially be omitted from the show altogether is the fact that the community practices cannibalism in the game. Whether or not the entire community is aware of this is unknown, but it seems from a note you find in the game that they turned to cannibalism out of necessity when food was running scarce. I would be pretty surprised if they didn't keep this in though, because it does an effective job of showing yet another aspect of this post-apocalyptic world. If I had to guess, we might even get a scene where David defends his reasoning for cannibalism through biblical verses, if they wanted to change it up a bit. But one of the biggest scenes of this chapter that we see in the episode trailer is the showdown between Ellie and David in the burning building, which in the game is called Todd's Steakhouse. Whether or not it will be a steakhouse or more of a community center or dining center in the show has yet to be seen, but either way, the set designer did a great job matching the wagon wheel chandeliers and setting the mood. Now, as we know, this part gets really intense, and seeing as in the season trailer there was a shot of Joel hugging Ellie while she's covered in blood, I think a lot of the same beats from the game will probably be hit in this show. Whether or not they go as psychologically dark though, we'll have to wait and see. But be sure to catch our Sunday night after show that we do after The Last of Us airs, as well as Eric's breakdowns on the episodes. Until then, you can follow me on Twitter at @It'sAnnaVanston and follow and subscribe to New Rockstars at New Rockstars for more breakdowns of everything you love. And don't forget to subscribe to our new channel, The Deep Dive, as well. See you next time!